Oh, I'm so sorry you're still not feeling good. It seems really weird to be taken off to school without you, bud. Okay. You get some rest, okay?
Hope you have a good day.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
Bye.
I'll be back in a little while.
Got a special little somebody for Joey.
Alright, go give him a kitty. I'm sure Kitty will make him feel better. Hi, Mitty Mitt. How are you, honey? Yes, I'm a good girl. Good girl. Oh, it was raining pretty heavy this morning while I was trying to feed the cats. You know, you gotta love that. But it's looked like it stopped now, and it's supposed to clear up, so maybe that's all of it. Oh yeah, just in my spot, baby. Just in my spot. All right, guess who I have up front with me this morning?
Hello.
Mr. Personality. Yeah, Joey's just really sick. He's running a fever and just miserable. We're all trying not to come down with whatever it is that he has, because it'll be bad news for me. They'll all be over it in 3 or 5 days, and 3 or 4 weeks later I'll still be coughing and have laryngitis. So I'm really washing my hands and trying to stay away from him. Love him, but don't want what he has. Today I have a picture of Yates Mill that I took, oh, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It was a perfectly still autumn day, which is a really hard thing to come by. And the timing, the picture was taken in the afternoon where the whole mill was illuminated by the sun was, you know, a little tough to do too. But so I loaded a whole bunch of new pictures into photomom.smugmug.com/Tesla last night. And I will keep on, you know, putting new ones in there as I have, you know, put one up each day. Probably pretty excited about loading up some cool Christmas ones when it gets to be December. So I have the little climate off indication popping up over here again. And the climate is indeed off right now. I have just turned the climate back on, however, and it stays. I sort of figured out this morning it has something to do with turning off the defrost and the climate at the same time. I wanted to make my video. I didn't want the noise of the fan in the background, so I had turned off the defrost and the climate at the same time, and some combination of that is what caused that message to pop up there. But it doesn't go off until I mess with the wheel, and then you know, well, I say that. Yeah, there we go. Not a big deal, but I'm sort of starting to see a pattern as to what causes it to get stuck up there. Well, Johnny and I were listening to the Boy on the Wooden Box on the way in this morning. Really good book. We're approaching the end of it now. And we both agree that it was really weird not to have Joey in the car this morning. It's continuing to clear out there. It's still pretty wet, but yeah, there's hope we're going to see the sun here in a little while. All right, buddy, I'll see you this afternoon.
Bye. Bye, Mom.
Love you, buddy. Have a good day. Well, I had a pretty good time hanging out in downtown Raleigh for a bit after dropping Johnny off and taking a few time lapses and getting a couple of mural shots. Just wish it was prettier outside. I mean, it's working on it, but it's just not there yet. So I'm in Fuquay now, and I'm gonna run into PetSmart and Walmart and just grab a couple things before I head on to the house. Yeah. Alright, I got what I needed at PetSmart. I think I'm going to wait and go to Walmart either this afternoon with Johnny or later in the week. It's getting late and I'm just ready to get to the house. Donnie's letting me watch a Hallmark movie, and I'm working on this picture I took this morning at the Raleigh CrossFit Mural. There was a no towing sign in the picture, and I've spent a little while here with the clone stamp removing it. It was distracting. Well, I didn't quite have time to finish watching the end of my movie, but I'll make time for it later. I'm headed back into downtown Raleigh now to pick up Johnny from school. Joey seems to be doing a little bit better. He was able to eat something, so that's promising. And his teachers have sent his work, and he's felt well enough to get his work done, so that's all good, right? With any luck, he'll, you know, be able to go back to school tomorrow, but we'll see. Johnny and I will be doing Taekwondo later. Obviously, Joey will not. Don was going to wash Ruby for me while I was home, but I told him I didn't think the roads were dried off enough to make that worthwhile doing, and so he's going to go for his run while I'm gone, and then when I get back, he's going to give her a wash, and I'm probably going to drive my van up to Taekwondo tonight. And hopefully by the time I leave to take the boys to school tomorrow morning, it'll be nice and dry. It's supposed to be nice for several days, so hopefully that'll work out. But right now, Ruby is dirty. She has mud on her. She has leaves dried up against her. She needs a bath. Yep. Hey, Johnny, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You?
Oh, I had a pretty good day. Mr. Don and I, we're watching some movies, and I got another good mural shot of Ruby and such. So what were you up to?
Well, for the first thing I did when I entered the door is go to Joey's math teacher, Miss Williams, who was pretty convenient to go to, and ask if she could get help with makeup work.
Okay. Well, I had emailed Joey's teachers, and they answered, and most of the stuff he needed to do was online. I think he's been able to do most of it, so he won't be behind. Yeah. How much homework you got tonight?
A good bit.
Sorry to hear that. We are going to do Taekwondo, just me and you, but yeah, sorry to hear about the homework. It's never ending, huh?
Never ending.
You must feel about homework the way I do about laundry.
Yep.
I did something really stupid. I got out and took those pictures at that yellow maple tree, and they must have stepped in a fire ant mound, or at the very least an ant mound. And I got in the car, and oh my God, they started biting my ankle and then my hand. And so I pulled over and looked down on my mat, and there are 50 more of them. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're crawling all around on the mat down there, and I'm nowhere near a vacuum cleaner, which is what I really need. And yeah, it's not good. I guess I have no choice but to try to drive to a vacuum cleaner now.
My mom's never been nowhere close as happy to see one of these air vacs.
That's right. So I put a towel on the floor over top of the ants and then drove to the nearest gas station, which let's hope this vacuum cleaner's working. Well, the good news is I am well enough to drive home, and I think I'm okay. Poor Johnny, he's so worried. Joey has an EpiPen because he's allergic to fire ants, because when he was little, he accidentally stepped on a mound at Lake Wheeler Park and got bit 7 times. And he started having trouble breathing. And the short story is I had to rush him to the emergency room after calling the pediatrician, and they put him on IV steroids, and life was good. He never actually couldn't breathe, but it was as close to having anaphylactic shock as you can get and not actually have it. So ever since then, I've carried an EpiPen with me, which I have on me right now, but I've never needed it. I think I've vacuumed them out of the car, but you know, it'd be possible to say whether or not I got all of them, and I'm very itchy and uncomfortable, but I'm otherwise doing fine. So Johnny and I I'm back home now, and besides being itchy and a little uncomfortable, I'm doing okay. Donnie is going to give Ruby a quick wash. I hate it that my vacuuming and pulling over delayed me getting home by 30 minutes because he's losing light and it's getting cooler out here. But he's going to get her cleaned up for me because she really is quite the mess. Well, Dawn just about has the Tesla Ruby all nice and clean. And Johnny and I are loaded up here in my van going up to Taekwondo. Yeah, the roads are mostly dry, but not really our driveway. I just didn't want to risk getting Ruby dirty, and also I need to drive the van for this week anyway. Good news is it started up. You know, Dawn had charged the battery after we went out the one time and it was dead. We don't really know why. Like I said, I think we might have left an inside light on for a week or two after Halloween night, but it started up just fine, no problem. So fingers crossed when we come out of Taekwondo, that'll be the case. You know, I'm not used to having to worry about whether or not my vehicle will start. So I'm pretty swollen up, my left ankle and a couple of my fingers, but you know, why sit at the house and think about being miserable? I'd rather just go and exercise with my friends and be moving around and not sitting here thinking about how bad things itch. I'm sure it would be worse if I hadn't taken the Benadryl. So Johnny's working on some pretty complicated pre-algebra stuff back there, some math work. I'm trying to help him with it. Well, class was a lot of fun. 30 sit-ups, 50 back-ups, 20 push-ups, and a whole heck of a lot of kicking.
Usually that's actually the regular. We're
yeah.
Lucky he didn't make us do, oh, I don't know, 50 sit-ups, maybe 70 back-ups, probably 30 push-ups.
Johnny started learning his forms for his black belt test. So I had worked with him on #1 and they did #1 tonight, so he had to step up on him.
In total, there's like 106 steps?
160. It's approximately 20 steps and 8 forms. Don't think about it like that. Just 20 at a time, but 20 at a time.